I have created a list of tips that you should use for beating the new Fool's Gold game mode in deadrails. So let's get right into it. If you guys haven't heard by now, deadrails has gotten a new update for April Fools, which introduces 2 limited time game modes into the game. One of the game modes is called Fool's Gold, which is basically a normal version of playing deadrails apart from the addition of Fool's Gold that you can find around the map. When you find this Fool's Gold item, you are able to trade it at the trading post, and it will give you a variety of different things in return. Some of these things you get in return includes a variety of items, bags of money, as well as a variety of enemies spawning in. The thing you are looking to get from the trading post by trading in Fool's Gold is a key, which is important for completing this limited time game mode. So now that you understand the objective of the Fool's Gold game mode, I will give you some tips on how to beat this mode and complete the April Fool's challenge. My first tip is that you want to buy a revolver and ammo at spawn. This will come in very handy when fighting off zombies later on in the various towns that you will have to raid. You also want to buy a piece of coal for the train, and make sure to pick up the newspapers beside the general store at spawn, and place 2 of those newspapers just like how I placed them in order to block off any enemies from getting inside the train. My second tip is that you should raid every single building you see while on your train journey. You want to make sure you have a lot of fuel, and you also want to look out for valuable items, because I would recommend you to get as much money as possible to make it easier for yourself later in game. My third tip is to always raid every town you see. This may feel overwhelming with all those zombies, but this is your best way of getting as much Fool's Gold as possible. This is why I told you to get a revolver, because it will be easier to deal with all the zombies that are in these towns. I would also recommend getting armor as fast as possible, because it will make these towns much easier to raid as well. From what I noticed, these towns are the best way to find the most amount of Fool's Gold. They spawn quite a lot in these towns. I would also like to recommend that whenever it is nighttime, you should stay inside of your train to be as safe as possible. It is much more dangerous if you are raiding a town at night, so make sure to stay put at the train until the night passes. Fool's Gold also spawns in the Tesla lab, so you can go check out any Tesla lab you see on your journey, since they are safe. While you are there, you might as well get the brain in jar, so you can sell that for $250. I personally haven't noticed Fool's Gold spawn in any random abandoned buildings I came across, so I wouldn't recommend looking for Fool's Gold in these isolated buildings. I would also avoid the castle and Fort Constitution. My fourth tip is to be cautious when trading in Fool's Gold at the trading post. Sometimes dynamite will spawn, which will explode if you are nearby and not careful. On top of dynamite, sometimes enemies will spawn. You also need to be careful with them, and I would recommend you to have your gun ready when trading the Fool's Gold so you can quickly kill any enemies that spawn. Having armor will also be helpful because it will be harder for any enemy to kill you. When you finally trade in a Fool's Gold that will give you a key in return, you do not have to look for any more Fool's Gold around the map. When you have the key, your new goal is to make it to 80,000 kilometers. This is where you will use the key to complete the game mode. My fifth and final tip is to gear yourself up. You want to be as prepared as possible for everything. You especially want to be prepared for the outlaws once you reach 80,000 kilometers. Make sure to get armor, protect your train, and get lots of ammo for your guns. Once you defeat all the outlaws in the outlaws town at 80,000 kilometers, you will be able to use the key you got to unlock one of the houses in the outlaw town. When you unlock that house, you will see a unicorn, a bunch of bonds, and you will get notified that you completed the challenge. Good job, you have beat the Fool's Gold game mode. Anyways guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up. I hope my tips help you so that you can all beat the Fool's Gold game mode. Keep in mind, this is a limited time event, so make sure to complete it as quickly as possible. If this video helped you, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for some more deadrails content. See you guys!